What would happen in high school where you'd rent hotel rooms and hire a DJ?
Right. I don't know how it happened, but I became this sort of high school nightclub entrepreneur in high school where I would rent out these hotel spaces but get the people in my class to come and pay admission for it. And I don't remember any of it. Everyone remembers all of it. Like that was the parties. They were in high school and I would like rent out hotel rooms and I did that in another house too where I got the volunteer firemen in the town to be the cleanup crew, and I had a major party and would charge everyone to come.
Okay, how about the most notable stories that come to mind when you were an assistant and did some work with Paris Hilton, or when you were an assistant to Jerry Bruckheimer?
It's all accidental, all of it. So I was a hostess at La Scala, which is like the pinnacle lunchtime restaurant in LA, in Beverly Hills, for years, where every writer, actress, socialite, producer walks in to get this famous, delicious, overpriced chopped salad.
And you're like, how old then?
But I was, whenever you graduate college.
Okay, early 20s.
Yeah. But I didn't know what it was. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'd been there years before with my father at another location in Malibu, but I didn't know that it was the pinnacle. I just was walking up and down the street trying to get a hostess job. So I got a job, and I don't remember if it was $8 or $12 an hour, but it was like very low, maybe it's 12. I would get a free salad though with anything I wanted on it. So it ended up being like a $40 salad. They don't do that anymore. So I met everybody there, like every writer, every person, and I just was like, I was networking. And I was dating this this actor, no one famous, and he told me that there was this woman, Kyle, who he had dated, and she left. I looked in his cabinet and there was a Lancome eye makeup remover. And I don't know why I knew that it was like over $20, which was like $1 million to me then. And he said it was this girl, Kyle's. And I don't know how the connection happened, but I met her at La Scala. And I walked up to her table and I was like, did you date this guy, Lewis? And she said, yeah. I go, who spends $21 on eye makeup remover? And we became friends. And so I knew her daughter, Farah, since she was 4 years old. And Kathy, her sister, needed someone in the store. She had a store called The Staircase to wrap presents, like Christmas presents. No, there's never been a worse gift wrapper than I. But I took the job and I went there, and then she ended up needing someone to take her daughters, Paris and Nikki, to and from school. But the daughters were just young daughters. They weren't Paris and Nikki. And I used to drive them in my Ford Probe to and from school at Lycée and to ice skating and to the Century City Mall to get Paris ferrets, and for Nikki to go to what was Forever 21. It was called something else. I forgot what it was called. So yeah, I was their nanny.
And what about Bruckheimer?
And Bruckheimer also happened at La Scala because there was a girl, Carol, who used to come in to get the salads, and she was their #1 assistant, and she was freaking out to tell them that she was going away to France and she needed someone just to do the stuff in the meantime. No one understands this now more than I do with this job now.
Yeah.
And no one understands Linda Bruckheimer categorizing antiques by notebook more than I understood. I thought, what a crazy person. But I mean, I am certainly not above categorizing antiques. I don't have a lot of antiques, but I would categorize candy, okay? And also, she had all the same color pencils. Like, they were all black pencils. No one understands that more than I do now either. So I was Linda's assistant, but I was in the house with her and Jerry, so I knew both of them. So I would like sort their like vitamins, and I would go in my Ford Probe to buy very expensive things at Dunhill and cigars and Hermes, and I would be like, who the hell would spend this at Hermes? And it's like, I get it now. So yeah, I was Linda and Jerry Bruck, and I met all the people, and I always remembered everyone on the call sheet. I also worked for Mark Berg, who was the manager to
Charlie Sheen,
but he was the producer of 2.5 Men, and he worked under Chris Blackwell from Island Records, whose parties I would plan up at his house, because I finagled my way into getting to do the party for the Chris Blackwell, the boss of my boss. And I worked under Lorne Michaels on the Paramount, but all of it's accidental. I was literally a temp that got a job with this guy Barnaby, who worked for Lorne Michaels, but somehow I managed into Lorne Michaels' office to meet David Spade and Chris Farley when on the couch doing Black Sheep. I always just like slithered my way into everything. And that's how LA is though. But there's a story, so I forgot this one. So Jerry Bruckheimer had 2 Malibu houses on Carbon Canyon Beach, which is the billionaire's beach. It's where Larry Ellison is, where everybody is. He had 2 houses. They were like probably 4 or 5 million at the time. How crazy. And one was their house. They didn't really use it that much. And the other one was a house that they would rent out to Steve Tisch, to one of the Tilly, either Jennifer or Meg Tilly. And there was a time between the rentals. And we had to live in Malibu on Carbon Canyon Beach next to Sylvester Stallone, next to Patrick Weitzel, who's the head of Endeavor, whose ex-wife is now engaged to Jeff Bezos. And they were like young they were young agents. They weren't even that big of a deal either. Next to David Geffen.
Okay, so what stands out from that?
So I would be in this house. We'd be in this house next to all the billionaires, and literally David Geffen came over to the house because everyone would walk up and down the beach and said to me, "I'm having a dinner party with all these people. We're going to screen American Pie with Tara Reid, and we're doing it in my screening room, but we're having a private dinner, and I need someone smart that can sit next to Paul Allen." Who can talk to him. So I would walk down the beach to David Geffen's house and be Paul Allen's dinner date to have intelligent
Microsoft
conversation. I guess I was
yeah.
the smartest of the dummies in the Ford probes on the beach, assistant crew. So a lot of crazy stuff.
And how was that?
It was amazing. I mean, we became friends. I ended up on his boat one time in New Orleans during Jazz Fest, his crazy big boat. Yeah, we became friends. And actually, us becoming friends, I think, is what ended up killing me on The Apprentice, because he connected the dots with Martha Stewart, which I don't connect dots. And
what do you mean he connected the dots?
Paul Allen said to Martha Stewart, "Oh, I know someone who's gonna be on your show." I'm like, no, she doesn't want someone in her peer group, and I'm not in her peer group, but she needs us all to be down here. She's up here. She doesn't need to know that, like, I'm friends with Paul Allen.
Whether you're selling shawls or renting the kitchen space from midnight to 8 a.m., what did that period teach you?
I think it's the same. It's always been the same period. There's no difference between me like working in the bakery from midnight to 8 in the morning to hustling the parties on my property. It's just that I'm now hearing all these friends of mine say that I was always like that. I just didn't really realize it in the moment. I didn't know who else to be. I just was always doing that. I was always working something.
You were broke till when?
30s. I mean, I had $8,000 in my bank account when I went on The Housewives.
You said it's not cute as you get older, like desperate and alone and don't have any money and can't afford to pay for anything. It was scary.
Right. I mean, as a broke 24-year-old, it's like cute. You know, it's relatable. You can talk about your hacks and your, not drinking coffee for a year to save money. You're in your late 30s and you're smart and you're trying to be something, but like you also can't go anywhere and do a lot of things. You get a lot of opportunities because you know a lot of people and you grew up at the racetrack with interesting people and you've had access to business and influence and money, but you yourself don't have any financial means, any safety net, and like you don't know where to enter into. It happens to a lot of people. It's probably hard to go be a 40-year-old bartender. It's probably humbling to say, if you're an entrepreneur and you went to an Ivy League school, if you have to do it. I would have been on a pole if I had to support my child. I mean, there's no shame in my game. I did every job, and I've always done every job. But as I had been on The Apprentice and was trying to create a brand for myself, and I hate that word, but try to create a path for myself, I had fear about going and just like walking into a kitchen and just working on the line under other people, or taking entry-level jobs after I got into a certain point. I was sort of like in the impact zone. You know what I mean? Like I'd had so many jobs, but in my 30s, I didn't know what job I would get. I wanted the Martha Stewart job.
How does those feelings stick with you even today amid, to use your term, the like money noise?
I don't know. I'm getting more and more upset at seeing people that are really poor with all the wealth that there is in this country. Like it's just creeping in. It's this thing where I'll just see someone who is taking pride in their job and they're cleaning a room or cleaning up after me in a hotel, and I'm just like, I don't like the way this feels. You know what I mean? Like and they are happy to have their job. I see the pride, and there's just such a disparity, and there's no middle class anymore, and I don't know. There's just something about it that I don't, I guess that's where the dignity came in this time stronger in the doing relief. Like people need to feel dignified and communicated to and connected to.